Hi Cancer, welcome to Libra season. This is the October horoscope, and as I'm filming this, it is October 3rd. Pluto has just gone direct. Mercury has just moved into fellow water sign Scorpio. And although this is Libra season, which for Cancerians is all to do with your home, your security, your relationship with your mother, it's fourth house energy, which is very much your energy. So in many ways, Libra season is kind of Cancer season 2.0 for you, because it's a second shot at that energy. And it can be kind of jarring at times in terms of pressure, because with the squared aspects of Libra season squaring off with Saturn and Pluto, and then your energy being in the mix, and this full moon in Aries on the 13th, you're kind of just waiting apprehensively to see what happens. Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is a fantastic card, yet also a bit of an unsung hero. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. And that is the message for you for Libra season. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. Knight of Pentacles. For a lot of you, there's extra pressure in your career. Okay? There's kind of a need to commit to something in your life. It doesn't have to be romantic. It doesn't even have to be career. It could be committing to a routine, committing to making a long-term goal, perhaps savings. Anything with long-term potential is what you want to commit to in Libra season. For some of you, it's having a family or buying a home. That's sort of the main vibe. But with that Aries full moon being in your career sector, very much ajar with Pluto being in your relationship sector, there can be some push and pull between your career and your home life and your love life. Okay, Cancer? So this month is very cardinal in many ways. Thankfully, there is Scorpio energy to keep your waters clean. King of Cups, Scorpio energy. Also your energy, water signs, water energy. You're committing to something that is very good for your soul. So you're understanding now the importance of self-care. You understand the importance of being true to your authentic self. Off the bat, we have an earth sign, a water sign, and a fire sign. So you could be dealing with any of these individuals. This is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But for a lot of you, it is quite simply your passion. Okay, Cancer? Can also be that Aries full moon. So the Aries full moon, although there is that tricky aspect with Pluto, what's wonderful about that is it's very transformative for your emotions. It's very transformative for your personality. It's very transformative in your career in general. And I think High Priestess in the world, you're kind of going through some tremendous shifts since eclipse season with your sign over the summer. The world and the High Priestess, you're very much in tune to other worlds, or you're getting very much engaged in the the spiritual, the psychic. Cancerians are so often quite psychic. They're quite intuitive. They're quite in touch with the other side of the, whatever's out there, spiritual beliefs, that kind of thing. We also have Pisces energy, but we also have Saturn. So if you're dealing with a Pisces in your relationships, a one-on-one relationship, it could be quite an interesting month if you're dealing with a Pisces. Because Cancer, there is, with the Queen of Wands here, because she's also quite intuitive, believe it or not, the Queen of Wands, because in the traditional tarot, she has the little black cat. She's almost kind of witchy, along with the Queen of Cups. There's kind of a witchiness. Somebody in your life, I think, in Libra season, Cancer, has this kind of hold on you and your emotions. It's like they are awakening emotions within you that you'd possibly tried to suppress, or we're keeping quite dormant, I think, with this. And it feels very much that with career, especially those of you that are in professions where you help other people, you're really coming alive. Especially if you're kind of, you know, if you're in a non-traditional career like tarot reader or mystic or clairvoyant, that type of thing, Cancer. It's coming up. Or even beauty, actually, because the Queen of Wands can be really about making people feel special. You're making people feel special in Libra season. Oh, Justice. So Libra season is actually incredibly important for you. There seems to be an end to some kind of karmic cycle with the World and Justice. Releasing yourself from some kind of pattern, be it a cycle of relationships, because the World is that keep on spinning circular energy. It could be releasing yourself from negative relationships. It could be releasing yourself from limiting beliefs. Or it could be the end, literally, of a legal battle or something that is putting pressure on your relationships. Particularly if you're dealing with a Pisces, the World card can be long distance type relationships. And there seems to be a leveling out now that Pluto has gone direct. It feels very much, Cancer, that in your partnerships, in your one-on-one relationships, even maybe in your career, the energy has felt very unbalanced. And it's evening out in Libra season, which you'll be very glad to know. People are finally pulling their weight, or circumstances are shifting to make things a bit more breathable. Ooh. Six of Pentacles. Someone is definitely pulling their weight. Especially if this is romantically, Cancer. I feel like energies are leveling out a lot. You're finally getting back from people what you've been giving in, or you feel that the roles are really evening out in Cancer land. Seven of Pentacles and the Page of Swords. If you're dealing with an air sign, I feel like you are waiting quite a long time for a decision from them or some kind of move from them. There's also a sense of letting people talk even if it's bothering you. People around you are being quite gossipy. That's what the Page of Swords energy kind of is. It's very much when people are talking and they're spreading things and they're speaking out of ego and not out of heart. Okay, so if there's people around you that are being very gossipy, can happen whenever the sun is in an air sign. And with Mercury being in Scorpio, the best thing you can do is keep your business to yourself. Be careful of who you invest your information into, is what I'm saying with this. Make sure that you're really taking care of your own garden, because the grass is not greener on the other side. And people that are constantly talking about other people are probably talking about you too. So just be mindful of that. With Venus in Scorpio and Mercury in Scorpio and you being a Cancerian in general, your information, your privacy is going to be a lot more important than usual. Even if you are quite a private person, you really need to be protecting your information. There's also a sense of protecting information from online hackers, making sure that you're really, really, really particular about your emails and your information. The Aries full moon is very much about sitting in your own power in career. There's some kind of milestone coming up for Cancerians, and it feels heavier before it gets better. And this could be a lot to do with that imbalance that was going on in your career before. For a lot of you, the Emperor rules being self-employed. It rules being your own boss. It rules being in charge. But it can also rule another boss for you. So whether you are a leader, whether you're self-employed, or whether you have a boss, it's all relevant around that Aries full moon, because it's aspecting Pluto, and Pluto doesn't like things just remaining the way they are for the sake of the status quo. Pluto loves to transform things. It loves to shake things up. If you're self-employed, you could very easily come up with a new system for yourself that really impresses people. Yes, it's very successful. Okay. Let's see. 6 of Wands with the Emperor energy, 5 of Wands, 10 of Pentacles, Death card, the Chariot, the 10 of Swords, and the King of Swords. Wow. Okay. I see. Very, very transformative energies leading into Scorpio season. So let's talk about that Aries full moon with the Emperor and the Six of Wands, Cancer, because you're doing so well. Especially those of you that are self-employed. You're going to impress yourself, especially if it's to do with clients that you have that are quite tricky. It seems to me with the Emperor and the Six of Wands that you will be able to take down any competition, because Capricorn, with Saturn and Pluto there, it does rule your competitors. It rules your partnerships, it rules your competitors. You are ready for anybody. And you have an advantage because you're going to come into your own in terms of your power. And if you're dealing with a boss where there seems to be friction in the relationship, a lot of you may decide to leave. This seems to be for the self-employed people really sitting in your own power and making some very big changes. For those of you that have a boss, an overseer, someone that oversees your stuff, if there is a competition of some kind where you're going for a pay rise, you're probably going to leave if you don't get it. Which is fair, because you deserve it. A lot of you are competing with someone for something, and I think for a lot of Cancers, this full moon will reveal where you stand within your workplace, within your business, and if you don't like it, you're either going to present an idea, present a strategy, or you're going to go. And I think a lot of you, with the Death card chart and Ten of Swords, are going to go. I think a lot of Cancerians are going to make some very big changes. You're going in a different direction. You want to implement change is the thing, though. For a lot of Cancerians, there seems to be issues of inheritance for a select few. And Libra season being in your family sector can do that. In terms of your family unit, there may be some conflict and some confusion, particularly if you're dealing with a Scorpio. But Scorpio season seems to be where you really release yourself from a difficult cycle, particularly those of you that are in unhappy relationships. I'm seeing the Ten of Swords as we go into Scorpio season, and I believe, Three of Pentacles, Two of Wands in the Tower. There's big changes, Cancer. Very, 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 very big changes. But they're only there so that you build something better. I actually think this full moon is calling a lot of you to use your expertise and your skill, and in some cases, Cancer, unfortunately, learning that you're undervalued by someone or someplace is actually what it takes to set you free. That's kind of a double-edged sword in many ways. But wherever you feel undervalued, you're going to make very big changes. And you're going to set up some very strong boundaries with people. There may be, now as I said as well, you can make changes. It is Libra season. Do be graceful about them. Do try to not burn bridges, because I think there's a very strong sense here that if you burn bridges with someone, with Mercury going retrograde, you're going to run into them just as quick as you've got out of it. So just be careful the way that you present your feelings, I suppose, because there's a sense of that coming around again. The King of Swords follows the Ten of Swords. Whatever chaos ensues towards the end of October, because at the end of October we have a Scorpio new moon, and new moon, and we're going to get into this very much in the middle of the month, like the mid-monthly readings. But what this is, because the new moon is in such a tight opposition to Uranus, and that is, of course, in your friendship sector, your wish fulfillment sector, and Scorpio being your travel and your expansion, you're going to want to break free from anybody, as I say, who's undervaluing you, talking about you, leaking information, anything like that. There seems to be a severance of some kind of tie, and I don't necessarily think it's with an air sign. It can be, but they seem to be someone who comes in after this. So it could be with an air sign, but I see very much if ties are going to be severed in some circumstance, Cancer, it's going to be your doing with the Chariot. Be very, very, very wary of reckless behavior and put your safety first. Scorpio season is going to be, by the looks of it, very transformative, but we're in Libra season. With the Ten of Pentacles and Death, I think that some sort of ancestral karma is actually being rewritten. You've possibly noticed a pattern in your family of divorces, a pattern of abuse, or a pattern of early demise. There is some sort of karmic pattern that you're very intent on breaking. And the fourth house can sometimes make you very aware of that pattern. And it can be that old fears surrounding that are creeping up. So old fears from childhood are creeping up. And I think Cancer, now that sounds very heavy, and it doesn't sound all sweetness and light, but Libra season is quite tricky with that cardinal aspect and the square and the jarring. You could feel quite jarred at times. The changes that are coming in are only there to serve you and to break you free. And when you're breaking free of something that isn't working, or shifting a paradigm in your own mind, things can feel quite uncomfortable because they're unfamiliar. So don't stress about it. For those of you that are interested in an air sign, you need to surrender to the blockages that are holding you back. You need to just let it go. Because for me, it's almost as if you have to make a big shift before that person can come in, truly. And a lot of things need to be restructured, especially in business, especially in career. If you're taking on too much, you will hurt yourself. So you need to be very, very, very aware of what you're putting your body through and what you're doing. You need to be very much involved in self-care, because the Seven of Pentacles and the Emperor tells me that when the Aries full moon pops up, you need to be looking after yourself and tending to your own. She's got a little watering can here. She's nurturing what she has. She's paying attention to the moon. The full moon is very important for you. It will always be important for Cancerians because you're ruled by the moon. And with the Emperor here, this full moon in Aries is particularly sensitive for you. The 10th house is such a prestigious place to have your full moon, and it is making tricky aspects to your partnerships. But I feel more in the sense of competitors is where you're coming into your own. When someone is challenging what you have, Cancer, you get territorial. And I think a lot of the time Cancerians, when they're being challenged, are so much stronger than people anticipate. But you are going through very big changes. And it's important to be gentle with yourself and accept that you will make changes when you know that you deserve more. Trust yourself that you'll make the right changes when you know that you're not where you need to be. You need to shift something. You need to make something different. I'm going to draw a couple of animal spirit cards for the sign of Cancer. Ooh, the crow and the lamb. The crow and the lamb. You have a lot more information than people realize, People are seeing you as quite timid, very sweet. But in reality, you've been watching something for a very long time and you've been sitting in your power and you're able to see where people are taking advantage of your good nature and you're going to make changes. You're going to be determined. And even though this little lamb is so very sweet and so very cute, and that is your energy, and it will be your energy towards your love relationships. With Venus being in Scorpio, you're going to feel very adventurous in love and you're going to be very carefree and you're going to feel quite jovial in many ways. Venus in Scorpio is a beautiful thing to be having as a Cancerian because it's going to be making beautiful aspects to Saturn and to Pluto, which are in your partnership sector. So although we didn't get too much into love, we'll get more into it in the extended, but the competitors that think you're white as snow will be very sorely mistaken. Never underestimate with Uranus being in Taurus, and just Uranus in general, just how great it is to surprise people that that underestimated you. Ever since I've heard George Bush say misunderestimated, I can't stop saying it. So please, he's a Cancer, that makes sense. Please stop me saying it. The Crow. You're going to surprise your competitors. Just as I say, you do go where you're valued, know where your worth is. But if you cut ties in particular with an air sign, be prepared for them to come back. Libra season is changing you from someone who leads very much from the heart to someone who is very shrewd in business and someone who really knows their own mind and someone who is not afraid to do what's necessary but will be fair nonetheless, I hope, with justice there. Just bear in mind, you're breaking out of a karmic cycle of some kind. You're making very big changes. It's vulnerable. Do look after yourself. Drink more water than you think you should. If your body starts coming down with something, it's a sign that you're not. Okay, you're not looking after yourself properly. This Aries full moon is going to illuminate for you a lot of things in terms of career, but it also needs you to be supercharged. So to do that, you have to look after yourself to get the full advantage. So that being said, Cancerians, join me in the extended listed below. And if not, I will see you in the mid-monthlies. Bye, Cancer.